What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of NoTv. Again, I am your host, Brittany, and we also have my guy.
Kwesi, what's up? What's happening? Kwesi, yeah,
How you doing? How's your week? What's popping?
I'm doing good. Continuing to create music, continuing to just do research and find the tools from tomorrow, the tools for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Try to be ahead of it before other folks get to it. Some really amazing, exciting things happening in the space. So I'm always keeping my head on the swivel. So, but yeah. How about yourself? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. A lot of cool stuff going on in the personal life. A lot of good stuff going on in yoga. Um, Shout out to my sister-in-law had her baby. So I'm
Oh,
an auntie
nice.
again, so that's super cool. So just enjoying life, you know, nothing
Yes.
too crazy.
Well, we gotta point out real quick the fact that I gotta point out real quick the fact that yo, you doing yoga, yo.
You
That's
know,
that's a really calming and spiritually awakening thing to do. And I to be honest, I don't really hear it much from a lot of sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's really dope that you
I
you
feel like low key we're the ones who need it the most, to be honest.
mm, preach.
Yoga is a very just as much actually it's more mental than physical. It's more mental than physical. And I joke all the time and I say that yoga has saved a lot of people's lives uh, from my antics. But I truly mean that. Like I can always tell, you know what I'm saying, when like I haven't practiced in a few days. I feel very uptight, very like wound up, just not in like a clear headspace. So um and sometimes it's hard because as a teacher, you get to teaching so much you forget to practice. So I'm in a really good space right now with balancing teaching and practicing because I love doing both. So um yeah, just in a good space with that right now. So I feel like it's helping translate over into other areas of my life, which is good. That's what you want, you know?
Yeah, health is your wealth, and it's an investment. I like it. I like it.
There it is. All right, so let's hop right into it. This week for what's poppin'. We are a little over halfway into the year. So I kind of wanted to talk about some of your favorite albums that
Mm.
have came out this year. Um, Projects you like, maybe favorite songs off of those projects, who's impressed you, um, maybe what albums you're looking forward to, because there's some stuff coming out down the pipeline that I'm really, really excited about that we'll tap into a little later. So yeah, let's just dive right in. Give me an album that you really, really like that has released in 2022.
Okay. Yeah. I guess for me right now, recently, I'm gonna go ladies first on this joint.
Okay.
I have been a big fan of FKA Twigs since she was doing some stuff with Arca
Hmm.
back in the day. Arca's one of my favorite producers, like of all time. Arca's sonically is unbelievable. You can tell that there's years and there's life and there's such a vibrant person within them uh, that it bleeds through the music. And FKA Twigs was able to express on top of what Arca would do, like within what Arca would do. And when I heard what she was capable of doing, I was like, "Yo, this is like literally she's from the future. One of the like alien
Yeah.
like you are not you are so human. I don't know if you were any more human you wouldn't be." And this latest project Capri Songs uh I didn't even know she dropped until like I think it was a few weeks ago. Like I'm like, wait, what? Like, how did I miss this?
It
I've been playing that joint on repeat though, for
uh,
real. For real.
I need to hear there are 2 albums. There are 2 albums that have released that I have not heard yet. And, there's sometimes it's so funny because there's sometimes where we get those periods of music where I feel like there's nothing out. Like, we'll go, like, 2 weeks in a row, and it's just like singles might release, but not albums, and I'm like, "Where's all the music?" And then the next week, we have, like, 3 albums that I, like, drop, and then I, like, dive into them, and I'm listening to them for a while, and then, like, you just miss stuff, you know? This is one of those
Right.
albums to me, FKA Twigs, I've heard nothing but great things about this album, and I just have not yet been able to listen to it, so I'm really, really happy that this is one of your favorites so far because it just further solidifies that I need to hop on this
Yeah,
bandwagon.
yeah. There's a few tracks on there. Tears in the Club is crazy. It's with the Weekend, right? Which I'm
Okay,
like,
you already know how I feel about the weekend,
uh,
so you
yeah.
already
So
know.
you gonna rock with this one, and then and then she got one with Rema called Jealousy.
Ooh,
Another one where it's like, yo, it's and it's so crazy because it feels like the whole album feels very UK based. You hear like a lot of a lot of British accents. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
yeah.
they out there, like, she's really out there in, like, the scene, and you can hear, like, these it's like conversations going on. It's almost like you're traveling with her and, like, going to the studios with her. It feels like she really brings you on this whole journey, and it's, like, different from, like, some of, like, her past projects. Like, I've rocked with all of her past projects and like but this one specifically there's some access here. I think she's pushed the boundaries on like her LP
Mhm,
and then Magdalene like she's like pushed her boundaries on those records and those albums but on this specific one it's like it's like refined. It's like she's creating this like pocket of being extremely refined
mhm.
um and it's just dope to see how much she's grown and hear the stories that she tells and she's always been lyrically so dope and her
Yeah.
voice is angelic and so ladies first that's my yeah that's my joint
Nice.
right
That's a
there
good one to
FKA
kick it
Twigs.
off with. That's a good one to kick it off with. Um,
Your turn.
yeah, so Imma go a little different route. One album that I wanna highlight is, I Know Nigo by Nigo, and it's really interesting. So this is actually the first album that he's put out since 2000, which I did not know. And so I had to go back and like listen to that album because I wasn't listening to him back then. Um, and it was a cool project, but I was just like, damn, like 20 years, 20, I mean, 22 years technically, but that's a long time, to be like out of something and to then to drop something like this. I like this
Right.
song for a lot of or this album rather for a lot of reasons. I think the production for the most part is what I expected. He co-produced this with Pharrell, and Pharrell is a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Mhm.
high, solid production. Neptunes has also produced a few tracks on here. And there's a few other producers on here, but those are like the two main. Um, Dope vibes, and overall, it's just a really fun project. There's a lot of artists on here that I really like, Tyler, the Creator, ASAP, Cuddy, Pusha,
Mhm.
um, Gunna. There's, like, just a lot of and then some of them, like, were surprises, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's literally a song with Pharrell and Gunna that's actually probably my favorite on the album. It's called Functional Addict, and I just love, like,
Mhm.
Pharrell's voice in it and just how it flows. I think it's a super fun song. The song with Kid Cudi makes me think about, like, being out on an island somewhere on a boat, just having the time of my life, you know what I'm saying? I always loved how ASAP raps, and I we haven't gotten a really strong album from him in a while, and I know he's supposed to be dropping some music soon, allegedly. So this was kind of a cool tease to hear some of that, and I always like him and Tyler together. I
Right.
think him and Tyler together on the same track always make beautiful, beautiful magic. So, for me, this is just a really album that I find myself visiting a lot. I hike to this album because, like I said, it's so up tempo, so upbeat, and it's fun. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites of the year so far. So you
Oh
definitely want to
yeah,
check that out.
yeah. I'm definitely putting all of my time and energy into really dissecting that joint because I mean, you see the type of names on this project, and you already see the aesthetic from the artwork. You
Yep.
know who's on it, man. You know Pharrell been at it and connecting with Pharrell's like they've openly talked about Nigo for a long, like he's been highly revered, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like it's dope to see this see it come to be what it is. And so I'm definitely gonna give it all my attention. Um Appreciate you sharing that joint.
Yeah.
Um uh I'm I'm gonna lean into this next one. You already know. You're actually the seed. You're actually the seed
Oh,
of this.
I already know who this is.
You already know who it is. Uh, Man, this album, Superghetto by Buddy, I would nominate it for a Grammy. It is that good to me. Like it,
It's a dope project. It's a really, really good project.
yeah, it was like, and the reason why it was, I think I forgot what specific song that you had put in on a weekly roundup for the company, but I just followed your trail because I'm like, let me read some of these articles real quick because you be doing your research. This is what you do for work. You research what's popping in the industry, and then so when you have those little music gems, like, oh, here goes some quick listens for y'all, you always hook it up. I follow that trail. I was working, I clicked it, it went, I forgot what song it played, but then I was like, this sounds kind of interesting. I'm like, what? Like, and I was like, oh, buddy. I was like, and and then I'm like, wait, hold up. And then I heard Happy Hour, and
Mm.
I was literally working, and I heard Happy Hour, and I was like, this is on the same project. Then I looked at the date and the time, and it just dropped.
Yeah.
It just dropped like 6 hours ago, and I'm like, how did Brittany know? Like, what was you just be in the know? Like, but yo, that the album showed Buddy's musical range. He's a genius, and some of the beats that he selected, I don't know that many artists that can come off on those types of beats and still be on a cohesive project that tells a story. It
Mhm.
was simple. It got to the point, but it took you on a journey, and he showed you what he was capable of doing on a project like this with just different vibes, different energies, and different experiences. Definitely my one of my top albums of the entire year. I haven't even heard the second half, and I'm like, this is already in my top. Period.
I love that. I love that. I love that because I do feel like, I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. We're only halfway in, and like, there's so much more music that has yet to come out, right? Like Beyonce's releasing a project, Kid Cudi's releasing a project, and without those being released, but just off the names themselves, I feel like those are going to be like in my top. So for you to already have like a solid, something that you think is going to withstand the test of time, that's dope. I think I have a few in here too, though. I think this next one, I feel the same way, and I feel like this is going to be a surprise for you because I don't normally talk about this person a lot, but I'm a huge fan. Uh, Dance Fever by
Mm,
Florence and the Machine.
on some machine.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I really, really love this album, and it's just a quick story. I've been rocking with Florence for a while. I came out here long, long time ago, and I was staying with one of my close friends, and she played. She was playing Dog Days, on repeat, like for like 2 weeks, like just being annoying about it. Like she really liked the song. She's a singer-songwriter herself. And she was just being so annoying about it. And I was just like, dog, if I hear this song one more time, I'm going to go crazy, right? Turn
Right.
around, I leave, I'm going back to wherever I'm at, and I find myself playing this song because I like it. Like, I'm like, I fall in love with this song. It's such a fun song. Like, I love the build up, and it was just I just became a fan. So I'm listening to her album, Lungs. It's great. And yeah, since then I've been a fan of Florence. Her last project, um, was good, but it wasn't, How Big, How Black, How Blue, How Beautiful, like, that was solid to me, and the last
Mm,
one kind of, like, was a little not as what we wanted, and this one just hit the nail. It, like, brought me all the way back. She is a beautiful, beautiful singer. The way the instruments match her vocals, the buildup, it's just so fun to listen to her projects, and I always listen to them with the intent of seeing her live because, like, she's that good of a performer. Um,
mm.
she really gives herself to the audience. I saw her at one Coachella, and she jumped into the crowd and broke her foot. And then the next week, came back to Coachella. I also went back to Coachella. She performed again at Coachella with the broken foot.
Yeah.
Killed it, like, killed it. It was one of the
Rock
best
star.
performances, and so I really love her music. I love her vocals. I love her voice, and I love how she just gives so much to her music. And I like really it's something that I really feel in my soul, and I just am over the moon in love with this project. She has a lot of good tracks on here. Dream Girl, Evil, Girls Against God, Free is another good one that is just it just makes you wanna dance. Like, it just makes you wanna, like, literally just dance around your house, and it's very hard to miss with music like that. So, yeah, Dance Fever, Florence and the Machine, top album for me, for sure.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely put my time in there as well. Florence and the Machine is for so long. Honestly, a lot of I know a lot of producers that would be sampling Florence and the Machine just as an exercise.
Yeah,
Just
well, she was the beginning of, I think this is so funny, but she's the intro to We Cry Together on Kendrick's album.
oh, word.
Yeah.
What?
Which makes me laugh because I'm like, that's such a you know how, like, that song is, and so for her angelic voice to be, like, the lead up to that, I thought was, like, comical, but yeah, she's the intro to that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to do my digging on Florence and Machine
Yeah.
records being sampled or placed because yeah, highly respected. Um, uh, Definitely a dope listen. Can't wait for this playlist. This playlist definitely gonna have some fire on it.
Oh,
And it's
yes.
funny because Mr. Morale's actually one of my favorites too. I can't
Let's
not.
let's talk about it. That's it's on my list too. It's on my list too, so let's just talk about it just for a little bit.
Yeah, for a quick, it's and I know down the line we'll probably have a some dedicated time to really dissect it because there's so much to it and who Kendrick is. But obviously, after a half a decade hiatus, it's crazy what came to be of this project, and it's just there's there's something for everybody, but we don't notice it because there's so much music, and a majority of
Mm.
it is diving deep into the self and telling the story. But there's like five or six like straight up bops that you could spin in the club or a Sunday brunch, like as a DJ, and people be rocking with it. So for me, it's just like to Kendrick. I know it's his last project with TDE. So, but it's definitely in the top for this year because it's a breath of fresh air too, in terms of hip hop is concerned. When we hear someone that's skilled doing what they do, you know.
Yeah, I think you touched on it really well. He has something on this project for everyone. It's something for everyone to enjoy if you wanna kinda go deeper and tap into yourself. He has some tracks where you can do that. And then if you wanna kind of just stay, I don't wanna say surface level, but just, like, vibe out, you know what I'm saying, and just have a good time. you can do that too with some of the tracks. You don't have to dive all the way in and get as deep as he gets. So, um, this I think this album really showed a lot of growth. When I just think back to how Section 80 and Good Kid, Mad City, which are both amazing projects, right? But just to see,
Mhm.
like, think back then, like what he was talking about, how the delivery was to what we have now, um, and how great those projects were, and how great this is. To see that kind of growth, I think, is really telling of how great this project actually is. And I think this will definitely go down as one of the best albums of the year and probably possibly one of his best albums,
Mhm.
because it's that good.
Yeah, I think it'll be arguably. Um, it, yeah, it just needs time.
Yeah,
Timeless
and he's
music needs
for
a little
sure.
time.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so
Yeah.
this next album, I'm super excited to say because I know you don't like it.
Ah, ah,
And I
ah.
just think that's so funny, because yeah, so honestly, never mind. And so check it out,
Okay,
check it out, check it
go
out. The
ahead.
album essentially came out weeks ago, right? It's not like it hasn't been here for a long time. Like I didn't.
Right.
There's a few things I like about this album.
Mm,
Um, and so I thought it was. First of all, I thought the way he released it was obviously very different from his previous album. There was such a buildup of Certified Lover Boy, and I think that that kind of played a part into a lot of expectations, and then when it dropped, some of those expectations weren't really met, and I think that the buildup of that is what hurt that. So I thought it was interesting that so for this album, he literally let us know, like, 12 hours before, "Yo, I'm releasing an album tonight." I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was like I like that he did that. I could appreciate it. We had no idea we were about to get a Drake album, right? Honestly, never mind. We looking at the cover art. It's like icy. It's like I don't know, like it reminds me of like a 2000 like t-shirt, airbrush t-shirt or something like that. Like just like, like old school like we about to get. So now the thing that I do with Drake a lot, and I've had to teach myself to not do this, is that I set expectations for Drake.
mm,
And when Drake doesn't do what I think he should do, I get
mm,
upset about it.
mm,
So, and I feel like a lot of people do that, and that's why we get our feelings hurt because Dra- Drake isn't just a rapper, right? Like he has
True.
vocals.
He's an
He's
artist.
an
Yeah.
artist, so he has different areas, different ways that he can kind of show us his craft. Like we've seen the songs, we've seen the rap, we've heard the raps. Like he's given us "Take Care," where he's done some of those like ballads, right? And then we had "If You're Reading This, It's Too Late," which was super super hip hop, like very rap. He's
Mm,
given us the passion fruits and the controller. So we've gotten different parts of Drake. So for me to expect one thing, it's like I'm kind of setting myself up for failure.
mm.
And so I really tried not to do that with this album. I didn't know what I was getting. The album releases, and honestly, it's probably been out at this point for like 5 minutes. And I get on Instagram and I see everyone like, what the hell is this? This album sucks. And I'm just like, dang, it hasn't even, how did y'all even finish it yet? Like, it hasn't even been out that long and we're already hating on this album. So right away, I'm just like, oh man, did he drop this? Like, is this another CLB? Like, again, like, oh no. I didn't listen to the album until like the afternoon the next day. Like, I finished everything. I started the album. The second song, I wasn't feeling it. And I remember texting my friend, like, is he trolling us? Like, is this a joke? Is this not knowing that the whole album was about to be a dance album?
Yeah.
But Drake gave us summertime vibes. Drake gave us essentially 15 tracks of passion fruit. He gave us 15 control. But
He
like
got
there
15 passion fruits. That's what
but
he was
there's
chefing up a passion fruit salad. Passion fruit
but he
salad.
gave but all jokes aside, like there's some tracks on here that I really, really like. Text Go Green, Currents,
Mm,
Sticky,
mm,
Massive, Calling My Name. Like there's some really dope songs here. Surprisingly, the one song to me that doesn't fit is the last song that features 21 Savage rather.
mhm,
I would have preferred if he left that off.
uh,
If you're gonna give me a dance album, give me the dance album. Like if you're gonna make all 15 tracks like, vibey, island vibe, like I'm dancing on a boat, give me that. Keep the
yeah.
21, especially since it's being talked about. He said that he's possibly dropping another Scary Hours album. So that
Mm,
that track could have went perfect for that. But I think
mhm,
for this, I think for what we got, once I removed my expectations of what I wanted this to be, because I love rapping Drake. My favorite album by Drake is the mixtape. That's my favorite mix.
right.
That's my favorite project by Drake.
Mhm,
But Take Care is high up there. Views is high up there. You know what I'm saying? Um, but this is I can appreciate this for what it is. Um, and I feel like once people give it a chance for what it is and not what they want it to be, they might like it a little more, is what I'm gonna say.
okay, okay. You a real Drake fan, huh?
It's funny because I think I am. I think I am, but I talk mad shit about Drake. I do talk mad shit about Drake.
Yeah,
I
real
think that I think he's a great studio artist. I don't think he's the best performer. Drake has this
yeah.
talent sometimes of like sucking the energy out of the building when he performs. And I don't know how he manages to do this, but like he'll get on stage and like everyone will be hyped, ready to go, and then homie just starts singing. And it's like, no, don't sing, perform something lit. Like we wanna be with you. Like we wanna like be up here and you bringing us down here. So, like all jokes aside, when he did the concert with Kanye performed first. Everyone is like going crazy. We didn't know what we were getting from Kanye, right? Kanye sometimes, you just don't know. And this is
Mhm,
his first performance since St. Pablo when he like started like, you know what I'm saying? So we no one knew. It was very worrisome for me. I was like, man, what are we gonna get? Like I know what I want. Kanye killed it. Playing the throwbacks. He didn't give me everything off Donda. I mean, he's playing stuff. He's playing what we want to hear. And then Drake comes out and just kills the mood. I don't even remember honestly what he performed because it was just that like energy sucking. Like I just saw everyone's face and emotion like get sad. And then Kanye came back out. Kanye had to come back out during Drake's set and get everyone excited again. So I
yeah.
say that to
I
say,
mean,
yes, I'm a
yeah,
Drake fan, but like Drake is a good studio artist. He's not the greatest performer, in my opinion. But
yeah, yeah.
this project for what it is, I respect it. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, in terms of moods that will carry out, Drake is very good at creating summers, right? Summer 16, summer like he be, you know what I'm saying? He's really good at knowing like, oh yeah, we aiming for summertime. We're gonna be out. We're gonna be sundresses.
And that's what this album is. That's what this album is. This is an outside, enjoy the weather, be like happy, dance. Like
Here's
that's what
my
he
here's
gave us.
here's my thing though. Here's my thing. And I'm not gonna knock because it's your topic, your favorite. It's one of your favorites. You know what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna knock. The only thing that I would have wanted was a
Mhm.
little bit more variety for the summer. Like if a DJ came onto the scene and all they played was like dance all the way through, it's like, all right, that's that DJ. But if I was there the whole brunch and another DJ came up and played dance, and then another thing, and I'm like, yo, we gonna can I get a trap for a second? Can I just slow down for a second? Can I, you know what I mean? Like, can I get a bass swing
Well,
for a
that's why
second?
he's dropping another project really soon. He said really soon. So he's giving us options. He's giving us variety. But
I don't need to be defensive.
for this project, he wanted the vibes.
Hey,
He wanted the vibes. That's it.
Representative, a OVO representative. I'm not coming for you. Uh,
Ah.
I promise. If you ask for me, I might come, but I'm not coming for you right now because you didn't ask for me. All right.
Uh,
I'll just let you know, right? Which I think Drake has so much music. The fact that he could be like, oh, I could drop a whole dance album.
right, like,
I
let's
think
speak to that too. That's kinda cool.
that's
That's kinda
impressive. It's very
cool.
now for me though, when I first listened to it, I had a car test it. I listened to it on like 2, 3 different headphones, trying to play from my phone. Like, am I hearing distortion? Why is it coming in so hot? I couldn't quite wrap my head around the mix. I didn't get it immediately. Right, the mix was just a little. I literally had to listen to it a few times to be like, is my speakers busted? Do I gotta pay another 700? Like, what's up with my headphones? So
Uh,
I wasn't too privy to the way that it mixed, but you can change that in on the back end on these distribution services. So I'm not knocking it. All right, I'm not gonna spend the rest of this knocking one of your favorites down. We're talking about favorites that we like here, which is gonna lead to my one of my favorites. Um, it's kind of a tie between two for me, and it's and they're kind of honestly they're kind of in the same realm.
okay.
It's Vince Staples and Denzel Curry. I don't know what it is about them,
Mm, okay.
like left and right hand for me, man. It's like melt my eyes, see your future, Denzel Curry. I just love the project. I mean, the project was so he released the video earlier this year and track walking, and you could tell that he was like telling a story, but he was inviting people in to this world, and it was so immersive. And watching the music video and being like, wow, they really treated that like some Mandalorians from Star Wars. Like he really went there for the idea, but at the same time, it was like a very very interesting way of like of telling people to walk, kind of like if you listen to that while going on a walk, the song actually makes a lot more sense. And I've done that,
Interesting.
listening to the project while taking a walk.
Yeah.
I think it encourages people to like, hey, go on a walk and listen to an album. I think it'll probably help your mental health, and it'll probably inspire you in new ways. So many features on that album.
You
Saul
have a
Williams,
favorite? Or tell me the
Troubles.
features first and then if you have a
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah. Saul Williams, Bridget Perez on the track "Mental." Um, Ain't No Way was stacked. It's a dope record. With Black, Rico Nasty, JID, Josiah, and Kitty Cash. It's like, yeah, that was stacked. X Wing is such a. It's just the. I mean, these are some of the tracks on here, but it's he really I gotta give it. Denzel's always been dope, but this one was like I was like, okay, he put in some work. He put in some work. You could feel the strategy and the
Yeah.
approach. And he rocked with Kenny Beats, like
Mhm.
just not too long ago. So he's continuing to push boundaries here. And then of course Vince Staple, Ramona Park. I just love the evolution of Vince Staples' sound. Like he's still all the way him, but
Yeah.
he's just making good music. I mean, he always has, but it's just good music. On Ramona Park, he's honest as always. Um, uh, Indie streets, like talking about love too in a completely different way, and really approaching unconditional love. Very intelligent. Vince Staples is intellect. It bleeds through, not just through his bars, but just who he is and how in his beat selection and what he selects to land on the project. The way it's the way each track is positioned in the track listing. It's just like you talk about wholesome projects. It's dope. I do feel like there's a lot of maturity that's also happening. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Within hip hop, there's different ends of this stuff, and like these records are the ones that I'm rocking with. So
Nice.
eh,
That's a dope list. All right. Well, I just got one more that I want to
hey,
touch on, and so far this is the best album of the year for me.
Mm,
And I'm going to preface this by saying that this young man has yet to put out a project that I don't like. So, I
mm,
mean, The Weeknd, Don
mm.
FM.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right.
So, first let's just quickly touch on the evolution of The Weeknd, right? Like I've been rocking with The Weeknd since day one. Thursday, Echoes of Silence, House of Balloons. Like before he put them all together and made the trilogy, right? Because some people refer to them, like refer to certain songs like off of trilogy. And I'm like, no, that's off of House of Balloons, or no, that's Thursday. Like it's very weird. But
Mhm,
I'm a day one, like day
mhm,
one. And I remember like I always have loved The Weeknd. I've always loved what he sang about. But it always made me a little like, man, I hope he's doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I love
yeah.
singing about the partying and the girls and the sex and the drugs. Like it's fun. It's his vocals, his range, the way he like put the songs together, like everything about it. I enjoyed the music to the fullest. But there was something that always was like, dog, I really do hope he's okay though. Like I hope that, because there's always some truth in the music, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Right.
yeah, some people like some people you hear sometimes about like rappers not necessarily always rapping about like their real life, like that, you rap about what's popular. But I feel like in this instance, like he wasn't making this up. Like this was the life that the weekend was living. You know what I'm saying? He was singing about it and it was dark and it was I don't know, it's kind of sad, but it was enjoyable for the fans.
Mhm,
Um
mhm,
And then over time, he kinda turned and jumped on that, like, new wave, and he took it back to, like, the '80s, and I think what we have with Dawn FM is just, like, this new wave, synth pop, '80s R&B, all put together into this beautiful masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? He still touches
mhm,
on some of his insecurities. He still touches on some of his anxieties in some of these songs, but it's done in a way where I feel like it's more healing and it's not as I'm worried about him.
mhm.
Um, so let's just talk about the album real quick. Turn the album
Mm.
on, Jim Carrey pops on. What? I was like, what? What is Jim Carrey doing on this album? Like,
Right.
totally cool. I loved how he was sprinkled throughout. I love the concept, like the radio concept, the crackling throughout, the transitions. I thought that they were all really well thought out and well put. I loved how Jim Carrey was sprinkled through. I loved all the features actually on that album. When I'm listening to an album and it's one of my favorites, personally, I like less features because I want to hear more of you.
Mm,
And so I really like that he didn't have his album necessarily stacked full of features. Thought the Quincy Jones was a nice surprise.
mm.
Um,
Yup.
the quartet songs, I think it started with Out of Time, and then it's Here We Go Again, Best Friends, and Is There Someone Else? Those four in a row. Beautiful. There are
It's
like those there's so much I love about this album. I could literally talk about every song. How Do I Make You Love Me is a serious vibe, just the energy of it in general. And I love how it transitions into Take My Breath Away. And it's so funny because Take My Breath Away was obviously, or Take My Breath was the single, right? And so we heard that. And so when the album came out, I was so excited to hear like the rest of the album that I let it transition into that song. And then I changed it because I was like, all right, I
mm,
want to hear what's next. I know this song already. Not knowing that he extended Take My Breath. So it was
yeah.
like that long, like extended, which I love. I love that extra like 30, 40 seconds of just the beat. Like the beat is hard. I love the dancing and the poppiness of it.
Mm,
Um, so I was really surprised about that. Sacrifice is such a good song to me. Um, yeah, there's just so and I think so my favorites have to be I really enjoyed Here We Go Again featuring Tyler, and I really enjoyed Best Friends. And I think it's because it took me back a little bit to that old weekend. The flow that he had on both of those songs reminded me of something that would be on A House of Balloons or on a Thursday. Um, but it was just a little more upbeat and a little more vibier. with that same old school flow, that old Weekend flow that we grew to love. So, yeah, for me, this is the best project that has come out of this year thus far. I am confident that it is going to remain in my top 5 for the year.
Hey.
Um, but before we move on, I want to ask you 2 questions.
Mm,
One, what projects that you know of that are releasing are you excited for? And then the next question, if you could choose any artist to release a project,
mm.
who would it be?
Oh, you gonna come with them secret questions. You love doing this, huh? You love just coming with questions that make people think and they gotta be on their toes and
I can go first if you want some time.
yeah, go
Okay.
first.
So I think I mentioned it earlier. I'm super excited for Beyonce's album.
Mhm.
Break My Soul, I love that song. I literally break out in that song multiple times throughout the day. I think that's such a just happy and rejuvenating song. And I feel like that's what this album that she's releasing is about to be. I think it's just about to be a really freeing album. I think that's what this summer is. This summer is all about just being free and like dance. That's what the artists are giving us, right? Drake, Beyonce, like this is what they want us to do. So I'm just falling in line and following suit. And I
Right.
think that's what she's about to give us with this album, which I'm super, super excited about. And you already know my guy, Kid Cudi.
Yeah, you
I
can't wait
am
for that.
so excited for this project. Um, Last one, Man on the Moon 3 was really good to me. And yeah, I think Kid Cudi is in a better space mentally than he has
Mm,
been in a long time. And like we touched on earlier, that definitely affects your music and how you present it and what you sing about and what you're going through. And I think that he's going to give us some stuff that we're really going to be able to rock with. And I'm excited to see him happy, and I'm excited for this next project.
mm,
It's a tie between. Oh, I'm also looking forward to Rocky's album. Rocky
mm.
has a project that he's sitting on,
Yeah.
and um, I'm looking forward to that project as well. Um, there's 2 artists that I'm going back and forth in my head on which one I should say if I could, pick one. And I'll say the one that there's a higher chance of this happening because he is scheduled to headline Coachella next year, but
Mm,
Frank Ocean.
mm. Everybody been waiting on
I would
Frank.
love I would love well, my other okay, so then I'll just say my other person because my other person was Rihanna. I would love to get an album from
Ah,
Rihanna. But
mm.
and I feel like everyone's been waiting for her too, and she has
Of
a new
course.
baby, so she's probably looking at us like, bye. But I think we could potentially get something from Frank, um, and this is what the streets need for
It's
sure.
just streets. These in these streets, that's what we
Yeah,
need.
for
Everybody been
sure.
Frank Ocean, man. Frank takes his hiatus, and it's like, but he can. It's like, bro, you do what you do, man,
Yeah.
because
Imma be waiting every time.
every
I
album,
Imma
everyone's like,
wait.
it's worth the wait. We
Every
already
yeah,
know.
yeah.
We already know. So, well, yeah, those are some great ones. I think there's a little crossover there. I'm actually gonna point out a few folks that I'm really excited about. Number one album that I've heard about that's gonna come that's hopefully gonna come out 2022. I think that tying up some loose ends on some things. Schoolboy Q. For some reason, I'm just like
Mm.
I think school because it's crazy when you know what someone sounds like and what they do and how they stay true to themselves, but how they evolve over the years
Yeah.
and schoolboys, you know what I'm saying? Like he's always given specific energies on a record like that are like I mean, that part, you know, say you got Kanye on that part. It was like there's so much like that he's done from the past, and like when you listen to like his albums and his records, like it's an acquired taste for some people,
Yeah.
but specifically for me, like Schoolboy, you always need some type of school. If you're gonna hit the gym and you really trying to get some gains, you gotta have Schoolboy
You're
on
not
your
getting no
like
games without Schoolboy Q.
ain't no gains without got no Q on your on your playlist. What? Like you gonna get some real games with Q. And
Please.
not to mention, I mean TDE. How many back pocket draws do they got? Dochi, of course. I'm
Absolutely.
been watching Dochi.
Yeah. Same.
Definitely, she's right. She's one of them. She's one of them like you have it's like no one has a clue like what she's capable of doing unless you listen very closely and very intently to what she's done, and then you can only imagine what she's capable of. And so really excited for to hear the Adochi album this year drop. Is probably going to be something out of this world that we haven't heard of. um if I could pick an artist to just drop, um of course, Frank is a default. Definitely would be like, yo, yeah, come on, Ocean, let's get something. But for me, uh, uh, who was it? Who's it? I'm gonna say, hmm, you and these questions, yo. That's like
Okay,
it's like
while
okay,
you're thinking, I do want to say one more thing about who and this album didn't come out this year, but she added to it this year.
ah,
SZA.
mhm,
SZA, because you said TDE and it reminded me of that. And
yes,
had had this album fully released this year, obviously it's an easy top. I really enjoyed a few of those tracks that she added. Had heard previously, but I love each track that was added. Beautiful
right,
masterpiece. It, I it's one of the albums that I go back to quite frequently. Um, but this was a great addition, and I'm super glad that she did that. And I would love another project from her as well. Okay, your
yes,
turn. Because
yes,
I can go all day with this. So you better
yeah,
hurry up
for sure.
and give me your
And this is it. This is it. This is it. I'm here. I'm here. This is gonna sound crazy, random, um, uh, and like all over the place. But this is gonna cut deep. And there's a reason why this has popped up. It is because we've talked about we've some of our conversations. D'Angelo.
Ooh.
If there was somebody I was like, yo,
Wow.
today, I'd be like, I need a D'Angelo record. D'Angelo is a genius, a complete musical genius. And
Yeah.
D'Angelo, every time I hear a D'Angelo album, it makes me think different. It makes me think differently. It makes me
Mhm.
think about sound and culture and and thoughts. And it's just sometimes people are so funky and so musically inclined that they can push by doing the simplest things, and it reminds you of what you're capable of as a music creator or producer. So like that's who I would have drop if I'm just like drop right now please, like,
Nice.
and they're like, hey, dropping music. So there you have it.
There you have it. Well, that's it for this week's segment of What's Poppin'.
Hey.
Let's move it along to fresh looks. Well, I'm actually super excited to talk about the artists that I found for fresh looks this week. And again, just to kind of remind everyone of what this segment is. So this is not only highlighting emerging artists, but it's also artists who maybe have been around who I just kind of want to shine just a little more light on. The music industry is tough, and you can kind of be in this for a while before you find your big break. So I think it's really dope to just kind of make sure that you're looking back and talking about, people who are making good songs who just need that big break. So that's what this segment is for. So let's kick it off. My girl, Fana Hues. So I was actually introduced to her from Tyler the Creator's album, Call Me Now If You Get Lost. And she did the vocals on Sweet and I Thought You Wanted to Dance. You know that song, right?
Yeah.
Thought you wanted to yeah, that's, like, one of my favorite songs off the album. Um, and again, you know how I am with the features, she has that voice where it's just like, "Who is this?" And then I saw her again on Pigeons and Planes because they're releasing that compilation album that I think Mike Dean is like executive producer over. I think that's something they're putting out next year. But she was one of the artists featured on that. So I went and checked out some of her work. And your girl, I'm your girl, has been missing out because sis got vocals. Sis can sing. Yeah,
Mm,
she's got some really really nice stuff out there. She put out a project called Flora and Fauna, and it was something that she did after a breakup. And I always think that music that's released like when people are going through very vulnerable times in their lives are always it's always really good. You know, it pulls something out of them and they and you as an artist, I feel like you're drawn to present your craft in a way that is just top tier. You know what I'm saying? Like you dig a little deeper. And I think that's what she did with this album. And it was really beautifully written. It was really well put together. And I could relate to some of it, which was cool because I mean, I'm not going through a breakup, but I really like that I was able to relate to some of the songs. It also has some songs on there just about healing, self-care, things like that. So overall, a great album, great body of work. Super excited to see kind of some of the things that she works on in the future. Some of the songs I want to highlight from that album, Breakfast, Bad Bad, and High Roller. High Roller is a vibe. Like the way it comes in is really fun. That's one of my favorite songs on the album. And then she also just released a single a few weeks ago, actually called Drive. That's pretty good. So yeah, Fana Hues, check her out.
mm.
This is popping. All
Hey.
right. Next on the list, we have Armani White. No relation that I know of. It's a guy, Armand, it's a guy. He's a rapper. He's a rapper from Philly, West Philly, actually, and he
Hey.
actually emerged on the scene back in 2015,
Oh, word.
and yeah, he dropped a song that he did allegedly in one take. It's like a minute and 30 seconds. It's called "Stick Up." And he goes off. He got bars. Like he switches up his flow. Um, he gave me like a little bit of J. Cole, but like it's hard. I don't like always comparing people like that because expectations, you know what I'm saying, get really muddy right there. But he has a really dope flow to him. Since then he's released like a handful of songs. He dropped an EP in 2019. He dropped another one in 2021. He's opened up for Big Crit, Gold Link, Big Sean. So he's definitely doing some stuff out there. And I actually found him because I was typing in Billie Eilish, and he has a song called Billie Eilish that is really dope. But I was like, when I was typing it in, I was like, what is this? And so I clicked it, and that's how I found him. Um,
Word.
yeah. So it's funny because for someone who has been out like since 2015, I think he has the sound of now. Like I
Mm,
think he has a kind of like the way his production is, the way he uses his vocals, the way he uses instruments in his sound. I think that is very of like the music today. He stays, and that kind of tells me that back when he was coming out, a lot of his stuff sounded a little ahead of the time
mm,
a little bit. And so I
mm.
think now it's starting to hit, which is interesting. So it's gonna be interesting to see if we hear more from him now. You know what I'm saying? He put
Right.
out his last EP, like I said, in 2021, called Things We Lost in the Fire. I heard a few tracks off of that. It's pretty good. He has another song that I really like called Jasmine. That's pretty dope. So I think he's someone I think I would love to see him do something at like a South by Southwest,
Mm.
you know, and just kind
Yeah.
of get a little bit more exposure to get out there. Because I definitely think he's talented enough to make some noise in the industry. Um, and like I said, a lot of people have spoken highly about him. Performed with Big Sean, Gold Link, Big Crit. So those are nice names to have kind of on your side and on your resume. So fingers crossed that we kind of see a little more of him coming up in the future. He's definitely somebody that I'm gonna keep my eye out for and
Right.
keep tabs on.
Armani White. He gas though. He gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pure gas.
Yeah. And the last artist I want to touch on, her name is Satya, and she is a 21-year-old singer-songwriter from Oakland. And
Hey, for the Bay.
yeah,
Ooh.
and so I found her I think on like the Fresh Finds playlist on Spotify, and she has such a beautiful, soulful voice that's kind of reminded me a little bit of Kaylani, a little bit. And I wanted to kind of dig deeper into her. So I Googled her and I read this article about she's from Oakland, but she had like moved down to Louisiana. And then there was like a hurricane. So she went back up to Oakland. Then she went back to Louisiana. And then the pandemic hit. And then so she had to go back to Oakland, and it was kind of like a rush for her to do that, and so she didn't really have time to kind of pack up all her studio stuff. So she just left and went home, and she's now like stuck, in her mom's house for the entire pandemic. And as a 21-year-old, like who wants to be stuck at home with mom after you've been living at home or living on your own rather for so long? And she just kind of really talked about how she just really dove into her songwriting and just like really got the chance to kind of hone that craft. It took her out of the studio and just kind of back into her mind and back into her head and able to put pen to paper and really get the lyrics down. And then she also spoke about rather where she draws her inspiration from. And when I name these artists, you're gonna know why I really like with her. But one of the names she said was Erica Badu. And right then and there, I was like, all right. So she knows about the game. You know what I'm saying? But she mentioned Lauren Hill. She mentioned India Ari being a big influence. And she also mentioned Guapale being a big influence and being from Oakland and talking to her and like kind of trying to form this relationship and this mentorship with her and like really being inspired by her work. And so she's another person who I think, like I said, her lyrics are centered a lot around growth and healing. She has a beautiful, beautiful voice. And she's someone else who I'm definitely keeping tabs on to see um, kind of where they're going. She has a few songs that I really like. One is called 10. There's another song called Not Knowing.
Mm.
And then she has another track called Summertime. And she actually released her first EP during the pandemic, 2020, called Flourish Against Fracture.
Mm.
And then she dropped 10, her last single, a few weeks ago. So, yeah, another artist to check out and keep tabs on, but I'm really looking forward to some more stuff from her.
Yo, I'll be discovering some amazing music from your fresh looks, yo. You be looking for the freshness though.
You
You
know,
be
trying, trying.
yeah, that's dope
Cool. All
for
right.
sure.
So that's this week's Fresh Look segment. Let's continue on to Digital Dash.
Digital Dash. Okay, so for Digital Dash, y'all know what it is. I'm gonna just hit you with something you might have heard of this company or this product, or you might not have. That's the whole point of Digital Dash, just to hit y'all with a little something, something. If you ain't aware of it right now, I would urge all of y'all to check out Audius.co. That is AUDIUS .co. Audius.co is a platform that basically reapproached the idea of streaming, and really added this kind of streaming and this music world thing to the blockchain. So they've created a coin called the Audius coin. This is a crypto company,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, they built this they built Audius, this platform for you to listen to music for completely free. It's free completely to listen to music, to upload music, and the more that you play, the more that you share and get traffic to your tracks, the more plays you get as an artist on this platform, they pay you out in their crypto, the audio coin. Obviously, as volatile as crypto is, that coin can jump from. I've seen it go from 40 cents, 40 50 cents to like $4, $5. It probably even has been be, it's probably even peaked beyond that.
Yeah.
Um, at some point, but you can already see the type of returns that folks can get, and especially when you trade that in for Bitcoin or make some type of other exchange to get that to actual fiat. So you can see what could happen with this idea and this vision of this company. Basically, audience, they want everyone to have the freedom to share and to listen, and right now they don't deal with they, which is crazy. It's like they're not really dealing too much with copyright issues because it's like it's not really hosted on any of their platforms, and it's hosted on this blockchain server. So that's the cool part about Audius. I haven't seen any cases in which any music has gotten taken down from there. um, and so it's a great tool to be able to promote your music, and also to promote people to play your music for free without any ads whatsoever, purely free. So you can download the
No
Audius app.
ads? You said no
Zero ad,
ads?
zero ads.
That's dope.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I hope it stays like that. They really had no, they had no um uh they had no intention of like bashing SoundCloud, but they're like, yeah, this is kind of what SoundCloud. This is like the early Wild Wild West of SoundCloud, like
Yeah.
what it was in the beginning. They have contests. You can join their Discord and their community, and check them out as well. Audience, it's really easy to upload. I upload my beats up there too, for folks who just listen to my beats just ad free, tag free. It's a place where you can listen to it, and the audio quality is really good. It's at 320 kilobytes per second, so you're getting some pretty great streamed audio. You can listen to podcasts on there. We might as well put our podcast up
I was
there.
about to say we need to get on there.
Flex,
You
let's
gotta
go.
get on
Um,
audience.
Yeah, yeah, they got cipher contests up there. They got it's truly a product from the future. It's functional. You can download the app today and play all kinds of musics, all kinds of music. They've designed it and kind of built it with some of the best folks in the music industry. I think Dead Mouse was an early adopter of this. I think Skrillex was up there. Kenny Beats was on this thing like way
Mm.
early. He's got one of the highest amounts of followers. They have featured contests. People do remix contests on here. So you can find so many different ways to connect with the audience community. When I tell you like it's a fun platform to be a part of. You got to be on there as well. If you're going to put your stuff on SoundCloud or Audio Mac, all these other DSPs, definitely be a part of this one too, because this is kind of the future. This is where blockchain is going, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the near future. So keep an eye out for audius.co, and be a part of it. See what's going on. See how many audio coins you can possibly get. If you get, I guess like they have these different tiers of when people play your songs, like 5K plays, 10K plays, or they release more coins to you, and you get you. I don't quote me on exactly the number here on record, but you can explore it yourself. I just want to put that on your dash. This is your digital dash for this week from your boy, audience.co.
Dope. Dope. All right. So next up, we're moving it on to our Run It segment. Super excited for this week's guest. We'll be talking about YouTube Content ID, and we have none other than our community support manager, Ellis. So let's head on over and hop into that discussion. All right, so we're back here to talk everything YouTube content ID, and we have a special guest this week, Ellis. So a lot of
So,
you guys might not know Ellis is our community support director. Um, he also does so much with our YouTube content ID. A lot of you guys might see him on our Discord, always answering you guys' questions, helping out with our feature section. He plays a huge role in a lot of the stuff we do here at Airbit, and he's also one of our playlist curators. So welcome, Ellis, to NoTv. Thank you so much for joining us.
Toucan, thank you for having me. Glad to share some knowledge.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's just dive right into it. We want to talk content ID, specifically YouTube content ID today. And I think it's a really cool feature that we have here at Airbit. Can you talk a little bit about what exactly content ID is?
Yeah, so it's just an extra way to make money from your beats and also track how they're used and where they're used. Um, so the basic concept is, someone uses your beat in a video, content ID places a claim on that video, and then you earn money from the ads that are then placed on that video.
Nice.
That's the sort of basic. Do you want me to go into like more detail?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The so advertisers pay YouTube to display their product, and then your beat monetizes the video, which allows the ads to be displayed. So that money that the advertisers pay then goes to your pocket. So the YouTubers themselves, like the content creators, they're not paying any money. They just simply have ads placed on their video, and then that's all tracked in your dashboard, and you can see where your earnings are coming from, sort of where your beats are being used, and what people are doing with that.
Nice. What are some of the benefits? Well, actually, before we dive into that, um, is YouTube ID, or excuse me, is content ID something that anyone can use in regards to like, I love that it's kind of something that's an Airbit feature. Can anyone just sign up to YouTube and start using content ID, or do they have to kind of be affiliated with a partner who's already using content ID?
Yeah, so for content ID, you have to use a partner. You can't just join. Um, you can monetize your own channel, which is different.
Hmm.
Or you only earn revenue from your channel. But if you want to earn from the usage of your beats across YouTube, then yeah, you have to join a company such as us, such as Airbit, to sort of spread your beats out and that's done, not spread your beats out. What's the word I'm looking for? Distribute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to join a company like Airbit to distribute your beats and yeah, get the
Cool.
views from across all of YouTube.
Okay, got it. So what are some of the benefits to monetizing with content ID?
So a couple of them have touched on already. The extra revenue obviously is going to be number one for most people. Um, the sort of the ease of it. Once you've uploaded your beats, submitted them, that's it. You've got to wait for people to use them, and then every month money comes in. You don't have to. All you have to do is keep submitting beats. Which, if you're a full time, well, not even a full time. If you're just making beats regularly anyway, you're going to be uploading them to Airbit or any platform. So you
Right.
might as well submit them as well. As I said earlier, you can see who's using your beats, how they're being used, which sort of without content ID would be very hard to do.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously you'll be in contact with some of your customers and they might hit you up and say, hey, look what I've done with your beat, check out my song. But outside of that, I mean, if you're selling thousands of beats, it's going to be very hard to sort of keep up to date with what's happening with them. And also usage limits. Anyone who sold beats online or is thinking about it is probably aware that in your contract you have limits to how the beats can be used, how many streams they can have, downloads, etc. But once you've sold that beat, again, you can't really track it. So this is, although it can't track everything, it can obviously track like streams, and you have an idea of how big the beat's got, and then maybe you need to reach out and say, hey, your contract only allows this so much. Can you renew it or buy a new one? So forth.
Nice. So let's talk about how exactly you earn money, because we talked about the money is paid via advertisements. Um, how exactly does that work? Can you dive into that a little more? Like, if I skip the ad, do I still get paid? If I, click on the ad, like what are some of the details into that?
Yeah, so it's interaction with the ad in one way or another. Obviously, there's different types. There's the adverts at the start of the video. They're called pre-roll ads. Then there's the sort of banners you've probably seen at the bottom. Those are the clickable ads. Basically, you have to either watch, or the person viewing the video has to
Mhm.
watch the advert or interact with the advert in some way in order for that view to earn you any money.
Okay.
So this actually causes some confusion with people, because they might see a video that's had 200,000 views, 300,000 views, and then they'll see very little earnings from it, and
Yeah.
that's because not every single one of those views would have earned revenue. It only comes from the ads, which, as I
Okay.
said earlier, is that all the money comes from the advertisers, not from YouTubers.
Got it. So speaking to specifically to who can apply on Airbit, if you're an Airbit subscriber, can anyone apply to Content ID?
You have to be a platinum user, but apart from that, yeah, we don't discriminate based on sort of genre, quality. Just as long as your beats are yours, you've
Mhm.
made them with no sort of samples, loops, royalty-free music, anything like that, then yeah, you're good to apply. We obviously review every application because we want to make sure that you are suitable. But as I said, that's not about genre, quality, anything like that.
Nice. And then I know the application process or the steps to apply for Content ID are pretty simple, so we don't have to get into that too much. But I do want to kind of highlight something that I feel like I notice you say a lot, is that there is a minimum requirement of beats that you have to have on your Airbit account to apply for Content ID, right? And I think it's 10, correct?
Yeah, 10. And again, that's just to get an idea of what you want, what you will be submitting. So again, it's just to make sure that you're suitable, make sure your music's suitable rather, is all original content, and that's it. But once you've been accepted, you don't have to submit every single beat. You can just submit one beat if you want to, however many you want. We just need the initial 10 so we can get an idea of sort of who you are and what your music's like.
Okay, cool. So, can you talk about what are some of maybe the biggest reasons or the biggest reasons someone would not be accepted into Content ID? I see this a lot on our Discord. Um, People get a little frustrated, might have some misunderstanding. They're like, "Oh, I just got rejected from Content ID." Again, what is kind of the biggest reasons, or if you can think of more than one, the biggest reasons that people may not be accepted right away to Content ID?
Yeah, I
In
mean, there
monetary.
is really only one major reason, and that is third-party content within your beats. So that includes loops, even royalty-free loops as well. So a lot of people sort of misunderstand that. If you go to like Looperman, Splice, anything like that, and you're buying pre-made sort of melodies and whatnot, and using them in your beats, then that counts as third-party content. And the reason, well, there's two reasons really why you can't submit that on YouTube. One is because if you've got those loops, then other people have got those loops as well,
Mhm.
and that forms incorrect claims. So then we might go and claim someone's instrumental just because you've used the same melody, and obviously, we shouldn't be doing that. And the other reason is because it's not your content. You have to monetize your own content. So if you've got someone else's melody in there, you're making money off someone else's work. So
Got
yeah,
it.
that includes loops, samples, royalty-free music, anything, basically anything you haven't sort of gone into your door, or if you're an instrumentalist, got guitar out, whatnot, and created it yourself.
Yeah, that's
And that's
interesting. That's interesting because it's like if you you know that I actually submitted to YouTube Content ID. Really love it. It works. It's really dope. But I got a message from a dispute from someone in their YouTube channel one time saying like, "Hey, this is all my original music." Blah blah blah. Like I don't know why it's saying that this is your like you own this stuff. I created all this stuff myself. This is so it made me wonder like what was it? Because I was like, "All right, if it's all yours," like, I mean,
Did you not
he also
argue? Did you not like
I tried to click it, but, like, it was like he took it off of online, so it's like, mans was mad, like, super mad about and I'm like, "Did we just make the same beat and, like, randomly?" But so it's interesting what can happen on the dispute side, right? Because there's different options, within, the YouTube Content ID drop down, and there's, like, active dispute or there's dispute, appealed, like, and you can kind of, filter through how people interact and how channels interact with YouTube Content ID. But it's kind of hard to know or not know uh, uh, what's actually going to land. That sounds nothing's new under the sun. So if something sounds
Mm,
similar, there
mm,
could be a false claim, but you have the option of saying, "Oh no, don't claim this video." Correct? And that's what I selected for this specific scenario. I was like, "All right, it's all good, bro. Like, I won't monetize your joint." Uh,
yeah, I
but
mean that could have been one of two things. It could have been you guys had a very very similar sounding melody. Well, it's usually drums in that. If it's not actually any sort of loops or samples, and it is just a mismatch, like a mistake, it's usually because the drums are very very similar. Was it just an instrumental, or was it an artist?
it was just an instrumental.
Oh,
Yeah.
then yeah, that was probably the case. The other case, which you might find happen, is an artist uses your beat, creates their song, and then disputes it, saying, "This is my song. This is all original." And you see where they're coming from, because as far as they're concerned, they just got an instrumental and create that's their song. They don't think about the instrumental as a separate entity, its own
right.
thing that you can earn money from as the producer.
Right. So it's your song, but it's my beat, right? It's just like
Yeah,
this
Yeah.
exactly.
this like tug and pull, right? But it's interesting because yeah, some people can actually do that, right? Volico is a very collaborative app, and they allow you to record on instrumentals and then and you can upload it to your YouTube channel. So I've seen a few uh um demos kind of that people have done that they recorded on Volico, and it was like, okay, they did that to my beat. Well, it wasn't that good, like, but but it was up there, and I saw YouTube Content ID caught it, and so I was claiming that. So, yeah, so that's interesting, and it's also a good way to kind of segue to sales too as a producer, right? It's being able to track and see who's doing what, or uploading what. So, yeah, very very interesting on that. It can get dicey though, right? On the
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for example, one thing that some producers do is they put in their contracts, you can't submit your song for content ID, because that'll cause a clash.
With my beat.
Because the content ID algorithm is very good for finding and matching songs, but at the end of the day, it's just an algorithm. So it can't be trying to claim the same thing twice, if that makes sense. So if you've got your instrumental and then
Mhm.
you've got the song, which is just the instrumental with vocals,
Right.
they can't both be trying to claim the same thing. So it can get tricky, especially if the other side, whether it's an artist or maybe it's streamer, blogger, anything like that, anyone's using it. If they don't want to sort of play ball and sort of understand what they can and can't do with the music, then yeah, it can get tricky. But I think the best thing is if you're if you're sort of doing this regularly, if you're making beats, uploading them regularly, sometimes you just got to look at the situation and be like, you know what, that video's got 600 views. I'm not going to waste my energy fighting something that's, you know, it's going to go on for a long time, probably won't lead anywhere. So sometimes just let it go.
Right.
Cool. So I want to touch on two things really quick before we hop into like claims management and talk a little bit more about revenue. But it feels like to get accepted into Content ID for the most part is a pretty easy process as long as you're not, like you said, using those third party loops and kits. Um, what are some ways to kind of help producers get approved? Is there anything that producers should make sure that they have or that they don't have to just kinda make sure the process goes as smoothly as possible when they submit their
Um,
application?
mm, Not really. I mean, we sort of we ask for any sort of links you've got, you know, like YouTube links, Instagram, whatnot. Again,
Okay.
that just helps us sort of take a look, make sure you know you're a genuine producer, you're making your own stuff. But that's not the be all and end all. If someone just to apply with no links, but we listen to their music and say, yeah, that's fine, then
Right, so it's essentially as long as your content is your original work, and then as long as it's essentially just a beat, no, like, not a full song.
yeah, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, you can't monetize songs through us currently. I mean, you can in Content ID, but just not via Airbit at the moment.
Right.
Um, yeah, and it's not to say you can't. So if you do use sort of samples, but you chop them up so much that they're not recognizable,
Mhm.
then you know that's different because that's not going to form incorrect claims. And likewise, if you apply with say 20 beats and we hear a couple of samples in there, that's not the end of the world. You know, that'll probably get accepted. But if you're applying with 20 beats and 18 of them have samples, then you know we can't accept that.
Right. For sure. Makes sense.
That makes sense. I made it. I was so smooth. I got there was like I had like some 2 of them probably had samples. I submitted 18. So okay. I know I've been rolling dice, but hey, you know, I think I got me a 12.
That's funny.
I mean,
That's
at the end
funny.
of the day, we do still we managed. Obviously, we manage the claims that come through. So if someone gets accepted and then starts submitting beats and loops in, it's not like we can't do anything about it. We can sort of release the claims. We can stop those happening. So yeah, it's not just like black and white.
Yeah. Let's talk about claims a little bit. Claims management. What exactly is the claim? Like, what's the claim on? What are we claiming here?
So the claim is just sort of as I mentioned that earlier. That's what places the ad on the video, which is where the money comes from.
Mhm.
So a claim is just YouTube saying this is the music in this video, and this is how it's monetized. Um, it's not it's not a copyright claim, which a lot of people think it is. It's just a content ID claim, which is
Mhm.
separate. So it's not us saying you're not allowed to use the music, you don't have permission. It's just saying we're going to earn money from that video, and
Okay.
that's it.
Cool. Can you talk a little bit about disputing a claim if someone says like, this
Mm.
is my beat, and then you're like, no, this isn't. This is kind of like what Kwesi had earlier, but he kind of just threw in the white flag. But can you talk about just like disputing a claim a little bit?
Yeah, so disputes that you'll see them come up a lot. If people are using your beats, you will get disputes. There's no doubt about it, and it's nothing to worry about. Um, like you said, it's just them saying, I don't agree with this claim.
Hmm.
Um, and there'll be for a lot of reasons. If you give out free downloads, you'll probably see a lot because of that. Um, Someone who's bought a license, obviously they're saying, wait, I paid for this beat, why are you claiming my video?
Hmm.
Etc. and so on and so on. And it's quite simple really, because you just go and you have a look and you say, is the claim correct? Yes or no. Then you know it's either release the claim if it's incorrect or reinstate it if you think it's wrong. If you think the dispute is wrong, so if you think we should have the claim, you can reinstate that. So an example of that would be if someone has downloaded your beat for free, for example, but you don't allow the free you allow free use, but not without a claim.
Right.
So you're saying to someone, you can use my beat for free. You don't have to give me any money, but I'm going to earn from your video.
Okay.
So someone might dispute that. They'll say, hang on, I've got this beat for free. Why am I now being claimed? And then you can say, well, there's no back and forth between you and that person, but for you reinstating it, you're saying, no, this claim is correct. You didn't buy a license. So we're going to continue to claim your video.
If a video is being disputed, does it stay up on YouTube, or is it taken down until the dispute is resolved and
Yeah,
then
no,
added
it
back?
stays up. It
Okay.
stays up. And it will still earn money for the ads, but the
Okay.
money won't be allocated until the dispute is resolved.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So again, all of these terms like claim and dispute, see, it sort of worries people. You have people thinking their video is going to get taken down, or
Yeah.
you know, they're infringing on copyright or something like that. It's not. All it is about tracking the usage and earning revenue.
Mhm.
It's not about, because if it was about taking videos down, no one would earn any money
Right.
because there'll be no ads. So obviously you can do that, but it's not worth doing it. You might as well just earn money from the video.
Makes sense. Is there Oh, sorry, Kwesi, it looks like you're about to ask something.
I was saying, like, they feel some people probably feel like it's the end of the world, right? It's like, oh no, they gonna
Because
come and get me.
it's such, like, harsh terms, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
I got
claim,
disputed.
dispute, and, like, I feel like a lot of people see that, and right away, they definitely think, like, copyright, and like you said, they're not
Subpoena. They
in
gonna come
alignment.
after me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I mean, it can get to that point, but that sort of goes beyond YouTube at that point.
Mhm.
So for example, if you do start taking down people's videos, then it's sort of leading into copyright territory. And then but again, that's not solved in YouTube. Then that's a court battle, really. So
Right.
that's only for like serious stuff. You wouldn't come across that really very often, if at all.
Cool. I wanna talk a little bit about, like, money, payment, the revenue. Like, I think the best thing the one of the things that I really like about Content ID is that it's such a passive way to make money, right? You don't really have to do too much. You literally just upload your beats and then it kind of does the work for you. What's the expectation on like how much money you make from Content ID?
I mean, the sort of blanket answer is that there isn't an expectation. You can't give a one for all kind of answer, because if you just started,
Mhm.
then no one's got your beats, no one's got videos with your beats. There's going to be no revenue. If
Right.
you've been going for years, obviously you got lots of customers, people using your beats, then you can start to see lots and lots. What I would say is sort of per view, or sort of per earning, it is a small amount, as I'm sure everyone knows, like Spotify streaming revenue, YouTube streaming revenue. So yeah, so you need a lot of views to earn like big bucks.
Mhm.
But I think it's just being consistent, keep uploading your beats, keep submitting them. Um, and the thing to remember is, if people aren't using your beats, you're not going to earn anything. So
Mm.
one sort of tip I like to give people is, which I know some people would disagree with, but it's just make use of your free downloads.
Yeah. I was
Because when
hoping
you
you touched
combine
on
that,
that.
yeah, you combine that with Content ID, people are going to snap up a chance to get free beats, and then
Right.
they'll go with their videos, and then you can earn off the back.
Okay.
And I mean, as we said earlier, sort of it's the interaction with ads as well. So you may see all those views I was talking about with not so much money, but that's because of the ads. So obviously we know that some ads you can't skip, so you're going to be earning, and the more
Mhm.
views you get, the more beats you get out there, the more views you get, the more revenue you'll be bringing in.
Got it. So you did a really good article on the Airbit Creator Hub that I read, and I just pulled a few general tips from that I kind of want to share with the community. And feel free to interject if something I'm saying is incorrect. But just a few tips that I just wanted to kind of highlight for the people. Beats only earn revenue from the date they match with the video and form the claim. So this means that if you submit your beat for monetization when a video has 100,000 views, your earning potential begins at 100,001. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's quite important. So
Okay.
when you create a new beat and your finish is ready to go, you should submit that for Content ID at the same time as you upload it, like to Airbit. So
Okay.
you want that in Content ID before you sold it to anyone.
Yeah.
So that way you're not only are you maximizing your earnings, but you're getting ahead of anyone who might try and submit their song, as you know, we just spoke about earlier, submitting their song. So you're
Right.
getting in there first. You don't want to sort of sell the beat, give away free downloads, and then a couple months later submit it for Content ID, because then you would have missed out on a whole load of views and
Yeah.
whole load of earnings.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next thing, include any YouTube usage or content ID terms in your contracts. Not only will this help your customers decide which license that they want to buy, but it also make dealing with disputes easier. So if, for example, it says your basic license that you'll monetize subsequent videos, you can rightfully reinstate corresponding disputes.
Yeah, again, like we touched on earlier about how it can get dicey.
Hmm.
If you've got the info in your contract there, if he says like with this license you will get a Content ID claim, then there's no argument on their end.
Right.
Likewise, if you've got a contract that says this allows you to have monetized streams and just dispute the claim of your order number or contract information, then you will see that come through in the dispute, and you'll say, oh, okay, yeah, this person's bought X license. I know they're allowed to use it, and you don't even have to sort of think about it too much. You can just release the claim. So it's just
Okay.
about making everyone's lives easier
A little
and
easier. Yeah.
clearer. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. All right. Manage your own YouTube channel. So with Content ID, you have two options regarding your channel. You can whitelist it so your videos aren't monetized by us, or you can do nothing. And so essentially doing nothing means you can earn revenue from the videos on your channel. However, if your channel is already monetized, you'll want to whitelist it by contacting Airbit.
Yeah. So when I say monetized here, I'm
Okay.
talking separate to Content ID. So if you have your own YouTube channel,
Hmm.
you can monetize that yourself just directly through YouTube. But to do that, you have to have a certain threshold. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's like 1,000 followers or 2,000 subscribers, sorry, or something. And then you can monetize your channel, but before that, you can't. So this is more for sort of the smaller producers, startup producers who can't do that themselves.
Hmm.
Then they can submit to Content ID through us, and we'll monetize it for them. They'll have earnings through Airbit. But obviously, if you are monetizing your channel, then you don't want us claiming your videos.
Right.
So yeah, you just contact us, put it on the whitelist, and then we won't claim any of your videos.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I think you touched on a lot of really, really valuable information here. I think, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Content ID. I love that Airbit. This is a feature that we offer, and I think sometimes it can get a little confusing for people. People, get super excited, sign up for Airbit, submit to Content ID, and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't get accepted," and they just never really know why. Don't quite understand all the nuances and the small details that play really a big factor on whether they get accepted and how the revenue works. It's not like the fastest building. You're not going to make, thousands of dollars right away, but over time, like you said, consistency is key. You stay consistent with that. You build your following. You put out more music. You have people coming to your page using your beats, and over time, you'll see that revenue increase. So, Ellis, thank you for breaking that all down for us. I know it can be a lot, but it was super, super valuable. Kwesi?
What are the things
Mhm.
that make Airbit be like, get out of here? We don't want you here no more.
I don't want to give away too many secrets. Tell people how to game the system. Um, one thing we come across a lot is remixes. It seems innocent enough. Um, sort of people, or either the producer themselves or someone else using their beat to remix with copyrighted vocals, basically. So just ripping acapellas. making a remix. That can't do that because then again you're making money off someone else's work,
Right.
and YouTube, but they just won't have that. They're just no. So obviously, we have to uphold everything that YouTube upholds. I mean, yeah, I think those are sort of the two main ones. As I said, I wouldn't want to give away too much to too many ideas to people. What I
Well,
would
because
say,
it would be the wrong kind of idea though, because that'll get them kind of like YouTube don't like that, Airbit don't like that, and then that could just mess up your whole plan, right?
yeah, I mean, we've seen people in the past that will try and game the system, doing something like that, but they're also selling beats, so they have like legit claims as well. But because of what they've been doing, they could get tossed out, and then they lose their legit claims as well. So it's just not worth it, really.
It's never
I
worth
just
it.
I'm putting it out there. I want producers to know it's not worth it, man. Just keep it the straight and narrow, or you get everything axed. So, yeah, for sure. So those are some tips of what not to do. Anything else in like where it's like,
Again, as we mentioned earlier about sort of like samples and whatnot, if you're listening and thinking, okay, just place some original beats with an application and then go and submit, we're monitoring our claims, so we know they're there. We'll get rid of them.
We'll get rid of them.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, yeah,
Little
just
purge.
yeah. I mean, yeah, just keep submitting your beats. Make sure. I mean, the content ID, as I said, it doesn't work without the sort of the non-content ID side of it. So if you're not selling beats, you're not getting followers, you're not using your email lists, you're not marketing. Basically, if you're not getting your beats out there, content ID won't do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
So content ID is definitely a great helper, and it should be a tool that you definitely use. But make sure
Right.
you're doing the other stuff as well. Otherwise, it's useless to you.
It's useless. Yep. That makes sense. Cool. Well, again, thank you so much, Ellis, for hopping on, sharing all the YouTube content ID knowledge. Super, super appreciate you, everybody. If you have any questions about content ID that you don't feel were answered on this segment of our podcast, head over to our Discord, ask in our Airbit help, and someone from our team will be able to reach out to you and help you with your questions. Kwesi, you got anything else to add?
hey man, just keep accepting my claims, Ellis. I'm good. You know what I mean? I got new beat packs coming out every month, man. Just make sure try to get me on the top of the list too, because I know because it takes a little bit of time too, right? Depending on the volume. So I do I know I'm plugging myself, but it's like being patient, right? Just to shout out to you, Ellis. Thank you for all the work that you've done, and the work that you're doing. You've been rocking with Airbit for some time now, man.
He's like an OG.
Oh,
He's the OG.
real OG, man. I've been following Ellis's blog since like 2018. So appreciate you. Yeah, thank you, man.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Bye, guys.
All right. Announcements for this week. Yeah, let us know what's good.
Yeah, so this week, Wednesday, July 13th, official beat battle. So you already know what to do. Come with your beats. Pull up. Even if you're not submitting, pull up, join the fun. It goes down. Beat battle is a whole different ball game that is super, super entertaining to watch and be a part of. So even if you're not submitting, come tune in, join the fun. Next Friday, July 22nd, we have FBF Lite. Essentially, just a quick breakdown. If you don't know what FBF Lite is, it's a way to get you prepared for the official FBF. FBF Lite, you'll be able to submit your beat that you're potentially thinking about submitting for FBF and get real-time feedback from none other than Kwesi. So he'll let you know if your beat is solid enough to submit to FBF, or if maybe there's a few things that you want to change about it and kind of fix up, tune up before you submit. And then July 29th, we have our official Fire Beat Friday, which will be none other than the West Coast theme. I've been throwing up the W's for the past like a few weeks now, but I'm super, super excited about this theme. I think this is perfect for the month of July, perfect for the summertime. And I think that we're going to get a lot of really good submissions for this one. So, like I said, definitely make sure you pull up to FBF Lite if this is your first one. But yeah, we'll have all these events listed in our description. So come tune in and join in on some fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for this week's episode of NoTv. Once again, I am Brittany. That is Kwesi. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us. See y'all next week.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Be easy.
And cut.